Over the years, there's been a saying that has always bugged me. And I never knew why it actually bugged me. I just knew I didn't like it. I could never put my finger on what it was that I didn't like about it. But it's when people tell me, this is the way I was taught, or this is the way they taught me. And that's something that I've heard over and over, through the years. I've been doing different things in different trades. I've been fortunate enough to be a foreman for many years, a maintenance supervisor, a company owner. So I've tried to have quite a bit of experience in whatever I'm doing, and I've been a teacher in many senses, in many trades and different things. And this is something that I've heard over and over. It's when people always tell me, this is the way I was taught, or this is the way they taught me. And I can never really put my finger on what it was that actually bugged me about that saying. But lately I've been thinking about it, and I think I figured out what it is. See, what happens, what I think happens, or what happens in my life, which I think happens in many of your lives, is that when somebody teaches you something, I would say that about 95% of the things that we know, basic things like tying your shoes or driving a car or writing or anything that's life related or work related or physical with our bodies or maybe even with our minds, somebody taught us. Most of the time, somebody taught us. So yeah, in a sense, that's the way we were taught. But at the same time, not just because that's the way they taught us, does it mean that's the way we're doing it. Even if we are doing it that way, most of us already tried a few different ways. Because in life, you're always trying to make things easier and more efficient, faster. So you're always trying. So to me, anything that I was taught, I never think that I do it because I was taught that way. I'll give you guys an example, and I've talked about this in my videos. When I first started pouring concrete, I was a teenager. I was a kid, and I started on a crew, and of course we were hand digging footings, and there was a guy that he was the other laborer that was digging footings, and I was sent to help him. So we started digging a footing, and the guy tells me right away, that's not the way you do it. That's not the way you use a pick and shovel. So he's teaching me, at least he thought he was teaching me, because I did have quite a bit of experience with that, how he did it. And he told me, I've been a laborer here for 12 years. So that meant that I didn't want to learn anything from that guy. From that point on, that guy, I don't want that guy to be my teacher. He's not going to be my mentor. He's maybe a very good laborer, but that's where he stuck. That's what somebody taught him, and that's where he stuck, because he never tried to do anything else, or when somebody different like me or new came to work next to him, he thought I was doing things wrong automatically, because that's the way he was taught. I think that, like I was saying, I would say 95% of the things that we do, we were taught by somebody. Anything like even writing. My teachers taught me how to write, but I do not have their handwriting, because even though their style of handwriting was what they taught me when I was, writing, I ended up adapting to what was more practical to my hands, to my style of grabbing a pencil or whatever it is, or a pen. So I don't write like anybody taught me. Yes, somebody taught me how to write, but I write what was more efficient and better for me. And I think that goes for everything in work or in life. So when I'm teaching somebody or showing somebody how to do something, or there's been times where I see somebody, they're struggling or they're taking too long doing something, and I tell them, you know what? I think I have an easier way of doing it. It's not that I know more necessarily, but sometimes I may have a suggestion. It may not work for them because what works for me may not work for the next person. But usually people will say, okay, I'll try that. And then they'll try it, and maybe it's not efficient for them because we're all different, and they may go back to their ways, but they'll try it. They're not going to say, this is how I was taught. I see people that are 50, 60 years old, and you try to tell them something, no, this is the way that I was taught. And I always think, well, you've reached your cap. That's it. That's as far as you're going, because somebody taught you that 40 years ago, and you think that person was divine or knew it all, and that's the way that you were taught, and that's where you're capped. But you got to realize that whoever taught you was maybe not the best or most efficient in whatever they taught you. There's new techniques coming out every day, new tools, new styles of doing things. So anytime I hear somebody tell me that's the way I was taught, I kind of almost back off and say, well, that's it. There's you're already taught, and you're stuck to what you learned at one time, and I'm not gonna waste my time with you. So I think in the back of my mind, anytime somebody's ever told me that's the way I was taught, that's the way they taught me, that has always said a lot about that person to me. At that point, I'm thinking, that's it. You're where you're at. There's no point in me wasting my time trying to share with you my experience or how I do things or how I've seen other people do things where it's more efficient or faster. Before I go any further, I want to thank my assistant manager. She made these cups for us for the maintenance team. Thank you, Denise. I told her this cup's gonna be in my videos now, and here it is. But anyways, I just had that on my mind. I want to share that with everybody because it's not that important. I know people it's a saying. I hope nobody takes it personal. It's just a saying. Some people say it without even thinking about it. But I hope that if somebody, opens up their mind a little bit and realizes what they're saying, that it may not be something good or positive about your personality or your ability to learn or to progress anymore. And like I said, I hope nobody gets offended. It's just a saying that a lot of people say, but there's more to it. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video.